has a master's and a doctorate degree in process and energy systems from the prestigious Cranfield University. And he is also an experienced energy professional with over 14 years industry experience in the energy and oil and gas industry. He is a certified project management professional and a technical authority in process and flow assurance and fluid systems. Dr. Oghazi is currently manager flow assurance and process for Technip FMC UK. Technip is a very well-known service provider for us in the energy sector, oil and gas precise. He is a seasoned personal development person and CV writing coach. And I will also add that one of his great CV writing effort made a way for him to gain into the prestigious KBR back in the UK. And that really transformed his career up. And he is well sound in this subject area. So all I can say is sit back, relax, and allow Dr. Oghazi to inform and enlighten you. And as we go on, there will be room towards the end to have getting your questions. Make sure your questions are such that will help you gain insight into what to do to improve yourself. Thank you very much. So I won't waste more time. Go ahead, Prof. The floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Korea. Confirm you can hear me. Confirm you can hear me.
Loud and clear. Loud and clear.
Okay, thanks. Yeah. Thanks. Good evening, everyone, and thanks for this opportunity to present to you on this very important subject, the CV writing and the future of Energy Workshop 2.0. I think we had the first one last year. It's a privilege and honor to be in your midst. So I need to share my screen. Can you stop sharing so I can share, if that's possible? Okay, thanks. Okay. Let me know when you can see. Let me know when you can see my screen.
Stop now.
Okay, all right. So in this presentation and this seminar, what I want to do is to give us a guidance structure, something that you can apply throughout your career. So I know many of us are different levels of our career. Maybe you're still trying to wrap up your project, or you are 2-3 years into your career, or you have 10 years or 15 years experience. So wherever you are in your career, what I'm going to share in this seminar would be valuable to you. So the structure of your CV currently, if you have your CV currently, you can pull it out on a screen or have it hard copy. You can bring it out so that, I know, as I'm talking, you can be noting down things that strike out to you that you need to work on. You would also see some of the mistakes and the things that you need to avoid, but mostly on the structure that your CV should take as you go into the industry of your career. Now, the first question you would want to answer is, what is a CV? So a CV is simply a comprehensive document that shows an in-depth account of your career journey, and the value you bring to your employer. Often we are focused on our career journey. This is what I've done. This is, I've worked here, I've worked there. But to the employer, your CV is not just what you've done. Your CV should communicate value to the employer, and I want us to pay attention to that. Now, so to you, is a marketing tool, is an information source that I don't know your face, the employer does not know where you come from, does not know how brilliant you were in school or how excellent you were in your workplace. The only way you can get yourself through that interview door is the nature, how your CV applies to selling you as an individual that can add value to the company. It is also a document that should differentiate you. For every job advertised, there are tens and hundreds of applications that come through the manager for that job. And so you must be conscious to differentiate yourself with your CV. If you do not have a differentiating skill or content in your CV, this training will help you to find out what is it exactly that should differentiate your CV from the ocean of other CVs that is going to employers and recruiters. Now, but to the employer, what is the CV meant to do? Is meant to add value. So the employer is not just advertising for a job because he wants to pay somebody salary. There's a problem in that company they want to solve. There's a service in that company they want to render. There's a process in that company they want to improve. There's a cost in that company they want to save. There's a safety issue in that company they want to minimize. There's a quality issue there's a problem a company wants to solve that is making them to advertise for to employ you into that company. So you must be thinking that, oh, people are just advertising for a job because they have to know there is a problem. And so when you go through a job advertisement, what you need to be asking yourself is, what is the value that this employer is asking for in the applicant? And so by understanding that value, you can differentiate your CV by using the language of that advertisement that create the value that the employer is looking for in your CV. So this is very important. Often, if you are very generic in your CV application, or you don't even know how to tailor the value the employer is looking for to your CV and to your career, then you're going to spend a lot of time looking for a job. So, so this is very important. Now, there's a difference between a CV and a resume. And the key difference is the length and the content. A CV can have as many pages as you want. It can be 5, 6, 7. It's a lot more detailed into the nitty-gritties of the things that you have done in your career. So as you grow in your career from your graduate level to 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, you should have 2 documents, a CV and a resume. Your CV will continue to grow. It will continue to grow, and there is no limit. As you enter a new job, update your CV. after each year, sit down, take your CV, add the things you have done in that year to that CV. So going to grow. Now, a resume is a summary, maximum of 2 pages. And it's a summary that you produce for specific job roles. For example, if you have skills that you can apply for a project engineer or a drilling engineer or a petroleum engineer, so your resume, you can have 2 or 3 resumes that summarizes your skill for each of these specific job industries. Those ones, you may not need to always update them because they are written to be very specific to the skills and the experience that is relevant for a particular job. So these are the things you need to maintain. Your CV continue to grow, update them, every year. I do that. I look at all the projects I've done, the things I've done. I go to my CV, you increase it, but your resume will continue to evolve in 1 or 2 pages as you go on. Now, what are the common type of CV? I will run through this quickly because you understand this better as you go on. So the chronological CV type is more of a CV where you focus on experience, where you've not had gaps in your career. So everything has been sequential. You've not had to take time off to go and do something else, or maybe there was 2, 3 years where you were looking for a job, you didn't see a job, or maybe for our sisters where you had to take time off to have your kids and then coming back to the industry. So productive CV may not be ideal for you because you had gaps in your years. So if you are in that scenario where everything has been sequential, you've not had gaps, productive CV would be ideal for you, and I'll come back to this later. But if you have gaps, then you should be using what to call the professional CV. What this does is that it focuses more on skills, on the skills that you bring to the job, and it highlights those on the first page of the CV. And then you are now looking at your experience before you now look at your academic background and other. So the key difference is just that you should be looking at skills that apply to that job more than just trying to list your years of experience from this company, so because you've had gaps. Now, there may be a scenario where you have now, learned so much about this, and then you can blend both chronological CV and functional CV. Now, I'll come back to this academic CV. I think this is a bit more generic, but because this focuses more on those that are in the academia, you are more going to be looking at your publications, your research, your IP. So all those things that differentiate you and shows your progress and the quality of your academic work comes in, and those should come first. Now, if you're applying for international roles, there are things that should also come in. So things like if you can speak 2 languages, French and English is important. You need to bring it in. If you have a visa status that helps you to gain that job, you should be able to bring it there. But this can be at a different format and structure. Now, you might be asking yourself, what CV format is right for me? Okay. Most CV format will fall between chronological CV and the functional CV. Okay. It will come to a point where you would be able to adapt both of them to say, okay, I can mix the 2 of them, but don't be so much hung on this, whether it is chronological or functional. By the time you begin to understand what differentiates you, what structure is suitable for you, you will naturally evolve into the type of CV that best suits the job you are applying for. Okay. Now let's look at the important part of today's training, which is on the CV structure. So the CV structure deals with the different sections that are relevant for your CV to stand out, and how you write those sections is very important. Now, there are two key structures, and the difference is whether you are at early stage or at experience stage. If you are at experience stage, which means you've done 2 years or 3 years in your career, which means that you've already started gaining experience. So at that point, you are no longer at a graduate level. It means that your educational history is not a priority. It's not going to be the first things in your page. So those ones begins to come down towards, the second page of your CV. The more experience you get, the more you are trying to apply for jobs that require experience. And what the employer is looking for is, on the first page, there are keywords that are relevant for that job. And the employer is looking for those keywords, whether they are whether they can be seen on your CV. Some of these CVs are scanned with computer algorithms and tools, and they're just searching for those keywords. So your CV heading, your profile is key for everyone, but then your skill, your work experience, educational history, award and certifications comes into this difference field. But if you are in a graduate pool, it means that the things you've done during university time as for the volunteer, the places you did your IT, you did some volunteer work, the awards you've had, those things are very key. And we'll show you how to put those things in your CV. But your education, the courses you did that are relevant to that job can make a difference, because what the employer is looking for at educational, at a graduate level is foundation. Is looking for foundation. Have you done courses that are relevant for what our company needs? So at that point, it means that if you apply for chemical engineering role, then there are courses in chemical engineering that are very, very core to excelling in that role if you get to that company. So educational history is very key at that point. Now let's look at the CV heading. So now let's take this guy, John Ibezim, he's a senior graduate engineer, and he's meant to write his CV heading. Now, the CV heading must be written in such a way that it presents very key information, your name. Often I see CVs written with curriculum vitae on the top. That is no longer important. Your CV should start with your name on the top. It should also include how you can be contacted. And those things must be correct. Your phone number must be accurate. Your email must be accurate. If you make mistake in your phone number, or you make mistake in your email, then your CV is just good for the bin. It's not going to get anywhere. So you must make sure that your email and your phone number is accurate. Your name should be on the top, and then you have your address, then you have your phone number and your email. The address is important, because if you are applying for a job in Port Harcourt and you live in Port Harcourt, then the company will give you a lot of preference, because you don't need to relocate. That cost will not be done. If you're qualified, compared to someone that lives in Sokoto or someone that lives in another country, the employer, seeing your address that you live in the same city, would look at your CV as, okay, this person, if he's qualified, would reduce cost for my company, because that is what HR do. Their business is to reduce cost in their recruitment plan. So now, when you look at John Ibezim, you see his name, you see the address, you see the phone number, and see the email. So this can be fine, but this is not the best, okay? Because there is a way you can add power to this CV heading, and it would attract attention. Whatever you're writing on your CV must differentiate. There must be power and force in communicating who you are. So what if this person, John, goes beyond just putting his name and this address and phone number and email, and now adds his qualification or certifications to it? It looks different. So is a chartered engineer, he has MSc, he has BNG, he has this, he has PMP, he puts it there. So if you have certifications and you are not including it in your CV heading, you are doing yourself a disfavor. So if you have your CV, begin to think about, even if your BSc should be there. This is my name, I have this, I have this. Now you look under the name, you're seeing that this person, Johnny Ibezim, have now added power to this CV heading. What he has done is to define his profession. He's a senior drilling engineer. If you compare this CV heading to this CV heading, this provides a lot more power, a lot more information. And if the recruiter is looking for a senior drilling engineer, he will pay attention to this CV, because this CV is speaking to what he wants on the first page on top of that CV. So what this tells you is there is no room for you to waste. Maximize every space on the top of that CV. Your name, your certifications, product certifications, the title of your profession. Sometimes you can adapt this to speak to the job advertised. Okay, for example, if this is a preparatory engineer, and you know that your skills that you have as a preparatory engineer and you want to apply for it, there is nothing that stops you from writing in that place that you are a project engineer in that under your name. That makes a lot of difference compared to someone who does not write anything. Your CV will definitely get attention. Now let's move on because of time. Now the CV profile. So right under your CV heading is what we call this CV profile, and this is where a lot of people struggle. I've been looking at a lot of CVs, by my role here in the UK. I see a lot of people write this profile, and it does not. It's like something that was copied from the internet, and just placed on that CV. Really, really generic, no context to who they are. So there are things that you need to know concerning how to write your CV profile, and this would evolve over your career, because as your career is changing, your profile will change. The profile you started with when you were 3-5 years in your career cannot be the same after 7 years of your career. So there is need for you to ask yourself, who am I now? How does that solve or apply to the value that the employer is looking for? So it must provide who you are, the skills and achievements, your career goals, and what you bring to the company. These 4 things must be clear. And there's a syntax of how you do. So now let's see an example. Now, someone writes this: a motivated and hardworking individuals seeking a challenging position in the sector. I have some experience in this field. I'm willing to learn new things. I'm good at teamwork and can do tasks without supervision, looking for a job where I can grow and make a difference. This is what you see in most cases, but this is crap. If you write this, is as good as you just wasting time, okay? Now, because it has the basic element of a CV profile missing. For you to write a good CV profile, there are 5 parts to it. Introduce yourself, your years and scope of experience, the key skills and expertise, going back to the value that the employer is looking for in the job advertised, the things you've achieved in a summary, in one sentence, and your career and objective, where you're going, what is the future. And this is where the future of energy comes in, because we are in a season where there's a lot of changes taking place. The new energy, the green energy, there's a lot of discussion, the digital energy going on in the industry, and different companies have set targets. Some have said 2030, some have said 2050, so they have set target and buzzword. So you need to be able to do a very simple research, and I want to understand where the company is going to, and then you're bringing that into the career goal and objective that you as a person is adopting to help the company achieve their goal, so that it's a win-win situation. Now, it has to be concise, be professional, and no jargons, abbreviations. So abbreviations should not be in your CV profile. Now, let's see an example. So we say there has to be an introduction, okay? So in this case, you're saying, I am a result-driven petroleum engineer. I am a senior drilling engineer. I am a graduate engineer. There is something there, but then you see there is an adjective before your profession, something that paints a picture of your differentiation. And this must not be a copy and paste, something that looks inward and says, okay, this is who I am. Now, the next thing is your years of experience and the scope. Okay, so with over 7 years of experience in drilling, production, and also your years of experience, you've done drilling, you've done production, you've done reservoir engineering. This is one sentence. The next thing is the depth of your skill and expertise. And this is where you are trying to broaden your scope of experience. Okay, you've shown your core area, but you're not trying to broaden it, because you are not going to work in isolation. So if you are a production engineer, there's a tendency that you are going to have experience in chemistry, flow assurance, pipeline, safety, that are things that are connected to it. You add it there. But then you're now saying, what have you achieved? I have a proven record of enhancing well productivity and reservoir performance. This is a summary of your achievement, and this proven record would be shown in your achievement in the details of your work experience. You will see that later. Now, the final part is, what does the employer stand to gain? What does the employer stand to gain? What you're seeking is an opportunity to apply your skill to maximize production, to help the company achieve their 2030 goal, or some buzzwords that you've seen in their website. They are trying to see. A manager that sees those kind of things concerning their company is definitely going to know that you've done a bit of research. You are not just trying to submit something generic. Now, if you put all this together, this is what this person's addition would be. So, result-oriented program drilling engineer with about 7 years of expertise in drilling, production, and reservoir engineering, expertise in optimizing oil and gas. Optimize oil and gas extraction process, reducing operational costs, and ensuring compliance with industry standard. This is key. Industry standard is key. So things that are very important for that profession, you need to bring a light for drilling, safety, volume engineering. This is key. Then you see how that flows in, and then you're ending it up with what the company stands to gain by giving you a chance to work in that company. Okay. Now there are other examples. This can work for any profession. You're a marketing officer, you are in accounting, or so this structure can work for anyone, and it doesn't matter where you work. Now let's look for, you are just a young graduate, you've not had experience, 5, 7 years experience. Now your syntax will be a bit different. What you need to bring in is the skills, the courses of excellence, and your career goal. So, and that looks like this. So, a motivated chemical engineering graduate with first-class bachelor's degree from this university. You may not know whether the person that is going to review it is from the university or was an officer that is. You need to put it there. You have second class, upper if you have first class. But if you have third class, you may not put it there because it does not sell you. Okay. So, but if you have first class or two or something that comes out, to sell you, you have to put it there. Now, there is also need for you to mention the backgrounds that you have, things that you have very good background in: chemical process, material science, environmental engineering. These key words as a graduate that define the courses you've done is important for you to put it in your profile, because that is the level you are in. The employer is just looking to know, do you have a background in these courses? Now, the achievements that you have done, maybe you have led a group, you've led a project, you've worked, so that course of excellence that you've done comes in, and then you're looking at your career goal and how does that benefit the company you're applying to. I look for the collaborating professional with professionals in the company to achieve your 2030 energy leader goal. So these are things that, so for you as a graduate, the years of experience, the depth of experience and all that may not really be available for you, but you can use what you've done, the IT you've done, the things you've done in your school, to follow the same structure. And when it comes out like this. Okay, someone that reads will know that this person has really thought about himself, understands all those elements, and then you should be able to build in. So now we've seen the CV title, the CV profile. The next thing you look at is your skill. This is very important, and this is always evolving. There are 4 parts of your skill that must make its way into your CV. Okay, the first part is software skill. Every industry has a software. The oil and gas industry has so many software that are applicable, and new ones are entering the market at least every 3 to 5 years. Now, the second one is business skill. So for the software, it's HiSys, Prosper, Gap, Power BI, Orga, PipeSim, a lot of them that you can add your own. The second one is the business skill, what does this mean? This means that when you go into the industry, some companies are into fabrication, some companies are into drilling, some companies are into pipe installation, some companies are different. So that is the business that they do. So the recruiters are often looking for people that have skills that shows they have knowledge of doing that business. Okay. Now, when you come into that business, there are now departments, disciplines. Okay, disciplines, subsea systems, production chemistry, process engineering, well in engineering, cost engineering, HSC. These are different disciplines. So you can be a chemical engineer, but you also have experience of HSC, cost engineering. Not that you're an expert, but you have skill in it. What that means is that the company can move you from one department to that department without employing a second person. So you are a player. You can be moved from place to place. It's a very powerful skill to have. And you're looking at your soft skills like planning, communication, business integration, and all that. Now, how do you write your skill? So the degree of the skill is important, and then you're now adding that, whether it is software, business skill, soft skill, and all that. Now, when I say degree of the skill, what does that mean? It means you're looking at the level, the depth of your knowledge. Some at just knowledge level, which means you know about this. Some at expert level, some at advanced level. So you need to highlight the degree of your knowledge on this, because these are important. For some skills, knowledge level is okay. I don't need an expert because I can train the person to come to that expert level. But for some skills, yes, and I'm looking for an expert. So you need to look at where you are and say, okay, this is really how I can present myself. So this is an example. For example, you're looking at your software skill, for example. So I can say good knowledge in modeling with PipeSim, PVT-Sim, and this, or expert knowledge or advanced skills. So these are so knowledge in preparation, chemistry, well engineering. So that these are the things. These are different levels of your skill that you can bring in. But when you're writing your skill, don't miss any of it. Ask yourself. Maybe you did IT, and in your IT you went through the different departments. That's the knowledge you have gained. You get the knowledge of pipeline, calculation. You get knowledge of this. You get also. So this is where you are going to bring those things out and use the degree of your skill to qualify it. Good knowledge of this, of subsea systems, and you can have 5, 6, 7 bullet points of your knowledge at that level, okay? Now, let me say that you can gain interview just from what we've done so far, your heading, your profile, and your skill. You can gain by just putting this correctly. You can have someone calling you, can we have an interview for you? Now, but you can go further, looking at your work experience. And this is so important, okay? Now, work experience is where many of us undersell ourselves, because there is this lack of ability to articulate what you have done. You have done so much, you work so hard, you deliver the project, but you can't just write it down. You can't just put it in a way that it sells you. You have a very good product, but you can't market it. And this is consistently a problem. So that should end today. What you need to understand is that your work experience is so important. It doesn't, whether you were helping your father in the workshop or you're helping your mother to sell something, there is something there that you can bring out. Whether you're working in the church as an IT person or technical, or there is something there that you can bring out at your starting level at any point you have to get your work experience section to speak volume. Okay. Now, this is an example. Assuming John Ibezim is writing the experience, and he says, drilling engineer is this, supervise drilling operation, coordinate with drilling team, and ensure safety protocol. This may look good, but this is very bad. And this is what many of us do, okay? Because it looks straight, it looks okay, but this is underselling yourself. So don't do this kind of experience, okay? Now, the syntax for work experience is very important. When you're writing your work experience under a company, okay? Under a company, say you have worked for Total or XY Energy and all that. The job title that you worked on comes first. The company name, the duration, and the location. Sometimes location can also come in. So maybe in a different country, especially if you work internationally and you want to show that you are a very global person, it's important to show it. Or or if you're applying for a job that is within where the company needs someone that have experience of the local area, it's important to show that we can have experience in working in this. And that is where you can put it. So duration and input area. Now, under that comes in the brief summary, just 2 lines or 3 lines of what your responsibility is. Because when you read job advert, you will see responsibility section. So it should be like you're summarizing what you've done. In this role, I was responsible for XYZ, okay? Now, below that comes in the nitty-gritty of this work experience part, and I'll spend some time here before I stop. The projects you've worked on are different from project A, 1, 2, 3. Okay, you worked on this project for the first 3 years. The 3rd year you worked on this project, or the first 6 months you worked on project 1, or you're working in different projects at the same time. You should be able to present this project individually and ask yourself, what did I do in each of these projects? That is why it's important at the end of the year, sit down and ask yourself, what have I done this year? Because it's your career. If you've done 5 years, the things you did 5 years ago, you will remember it. Once it's time to apply for a job, or maybe your company is having problems, they say we are going to lay people off. And that is when you are trying to update your CV. You've been in that company for 5, 7 years. The things you did 5, 7 years ago, you can't remember them. And those are the things that might be relevant for you to gain your new job. So the project you've done comes in. And maybe under that project, some of them you are a lead. Some of them you played a different role. They should come under it. Then the achievement comes next. And that is where I will spend some time next. Now, how do you write your achievement? The achievement has a syntax. There has to be a qualifying adverb. Verb is an action. Achievement is an action. Okay. There has to be an adverb that qualifies it, and I will show you some of those. You can do your own research. Now, the next thing is the verb, the action. There must be an action. Okay. I led. I mobilized. I developed. I executed. So there has to be an action that comes in, and how you did that action is the adverb that comes in. Now, which project, what did you do? Which tools did you use, and the value you created? If you go back to this example, for John here, you see that almost all these elements are missing. There is no value. There is it's just abstract and vague. Okay. Now, if you go further down, you will see that the use of action verbs is very strong. It must be action-oriented. In each role, it has to define your achievement. And think about numbers. Quantify your number. For example, if you reduced cost by 5%, that 5% might be so much. For you, it might look small, but to that company you're applying to, that 5% is already a game changer for you. So you must be able to measure in little numbers the things that you have achieved, and those are going to come into your Now, let me say that these are, let me say that these are adverbs. You can do a lot of research on this. Yeah, sorry.
Okay,
yeah, please remain muted once you join it. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So you can do your research, but just to give us some examples of adverbs: successfully completed, efficiently mobilized, consistently, diligently, independently, collaboratively. So these are the adverbs that add power and value to the action you have taken, and there's quite a lot of them. Okay, that you can use. Now the verbs: initiated, evaluated, maintained, research. There are actions that the company is looking for. Has this person solved the problem? Has he mentored anybody? Has he led a team? Has he facilitated? Has he initiated? Has he optimized? And so there are things they are looking for. Okay, so when you combine the adverb to the verb at the beginning of every achievement, these two must be there. Okay, now let's take, for example, the John Ibezim example. Okay, managed multiple drilling projects. This looks fine, and you can submit your CV like this. But what if you go further and say, okay, managed 8 drilling projects using XYZ tools or rig? You see, you are now adding the numbers, the value, the things that differentiate this person has actually not managed 1, not 2, but 8. This person must be experienced. Oh, the tools, when you read the job description, you will see the kind of tools that the employer is actually looking for someone that has experience using that tool, that software, and you have used it. This is where you're going to bring it in. Manage this drilling project using this tool or this type of rig, but this is not yet the best. Okay, now you can go further. Manage a drilling project using XYZ tools or rig and achieving this. What did you achieve? It's not enough that you manage a drilling project. Who cares? Who cares if you have used the tool and you kill somebody in the rig? Yeah, who cares? So what did you achieve? You did all the project, but the company lost money. The company actually, the project was over budget, out of schedule. What did you achieve? But if you have achieved something, don't do, and every project has a good part of it. Anything you did, you must achieve something. So here you're saying, I reduce operational cost by 15% while maintaining safety standards. If you compare this to where you started from, you will see that this has a lot more value and sells you more than just saying you manage drilling project. And you can, write that in a different way. In this case, I'm bringing in the industry language, Go Zero, no LTI. For people that are more advanced in the industry, you know how to bring in some of this time together into the things that you've done. And this is how you're going to do this for every project you are involved in. Identify at least three achievements like this. Use this syntax and put it under each project. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That begins to. So, and it can work for everyone. As me, you're a marketing officer. The marketing officer can say develop, execute, and execute completely my marketing strategy. That could be where the person stops. but you can go further down and develop it to a point where it has more value, more quality, brings out the things that you have done. The message here is don't undersell yourself. Make sure that as you are growing in your career, the things that you have done as achievement to it. If you don't have the numbers, call somebody in your company and ask him, that project that we did, was there any savings? Was there any time savings, any financial savings? Did we gain anything? And so those things, use them because we are part of that project and you play the role in that. So the achievement of that project should be to your own advantage. It is not just the company you worked for, it is your career. And this is where those things add value to you. Okay. Now, I've given a lot of examples around this, really engineer. So I've given a lot of examples. For example, this is the team lead, that has worked. So these are quite other examples. HSC manager examples. There are a lot. With this system syntax, you can write all your achievements the same way, and each time you finish that, you will see that the value it adds to your CV becomes quite good and high. Okay, so let me stop here. The rest is education. Education is important, and let me say that whenever you do a course or you go into a training course and other, you still need to bring it just under your education, okay? Add it there, but you've done MSc, you've done your BNG, you've done this. So the syntax is clear. The MSc in this, University of Leeds, put the date, start month and day, start month and day. For some jobs, these dates are very important. If there is lie or the dates don't agree, then the employer may just say, oh, this person is dishonest, is not telling the story, and all that. Okay, I want to stop here and take questions because of time. I think we are shooting above time, so I want to start. I can take some time to answer questions. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Dr. Gazi. Excellent presentation. So I think, Itoro, I will leave the steering to you to pull up some questions. But if I need to support at some point, I'll do that. So we basically want to hear from the audience or the participants so that the session becomes indeed more enriching. Okay, I think if the first question is on the chat, I'll allow you drive now. Go ahead.
All right. So thank you very much for joining, everyone, and thank you very much to our lecturer for that very wonderful and very detailed presentation on how we can put together our CVs to make us stand out when we are putting in our applications for all these job adverts, applications, and all of that. So anyways, if we have any questions, feel free to drop it in the chat. We'll just quickly go through them. I think I can see one already from Rokib, which is asking, is it ideal to add our photo to our CV? Okay, it's a three-part question. The first part is it ideal to add your photo? The second one is, what is the ideal page numbers? That's number of pages for your CV. And also, do you advise we include our portfolio or research link in our CV?
Yes, so adding your photo to your CV does not hurt you, okay, but also it does not give you an advantage. So if you have a very good-looking picture, okay, with respect to that particular region or area that you are applying to. You can you can add it, but overall, putting your picture in your CV is a distraction. Okay, it is the distraction, and you also have to be sensitive. Yeah, so for me, it doesn't add extra value to you. It's something as not adding whether you're a male or female to your CV profile or your title. Okay. The second one is, what is the ideal page number of a CV? A CV is different from a resume. I did mention that earlier. Your CV continues to grow in length, okay, in number of pages. You can always try to summarize it and reduce it, but the tendency that your CV could grow to 4, 5, 6 pages as your career is growing is there. And there is no penalty to it, especially those that are in the academia. The tendency that you do a lot of research work and some of that becomes relevant, so that's fine. But your resume should be 2 pages maximum, okay? And your resume should be targeted to different job and different industry. So if you're applying for a particular job and you know that that job, you're going to apply for that job consistently, then you should have a resume that summarizes your skill and experience in 2 pages. And you can do it even with this structure that I've laid down. Your resume should not be more than 2 pages. Okay, but your CV can have many pages. Okay. Okay, I think I've answered. So when each of them are required, okay, like I said, for targeted industry job roles that are very specific, your 2-page resume is what you should be having. Okay, we should be having. So because, for example, if you're applying for a process engineering role, we know what is needed in that role. Your software, your Unisim, your HiSys, or your PipeSim has to be there. Your process engineering knowledge of equipment sizing, optimization, and all that has to be there. The 2 or 3 places you've worked and all that you can compress in 2 pages. And but then your CV is not going to bring in every little thing that you have done in all those places. Under your achievement, you can have like 5, 6, 7 achievements under in your CV. But when you go to your resume, those become like 3 or 4. You have to like summarize it to 3 or 4 so that at the end of the day, it becomes just 2 pages. Will you advise the professional to remove some work experience and certification when applying for I think, yeah, for a particular job role? I'm asking because I have not had so good experience. Okay, now, like I said, some certification that are relevant for that job advert should be there. Now, if you have something that are in IT and you are applying for a process engineering, you have the CCNA, A+, things that are completely taken away from your profession. Now there is no point putting it, because if I receive such a CV and I see professional in different areas. I see some in IT, I see some in material. My conclusion is that this person is a jack of all trades. Is not committed to this profession. In fact, earlier this year, I dealt with such a CV. Someone submitted, but very, very rich his CV. But when I went through it, I saw that this person, is all over the place. So while you're developing yourself, it's not everything that you're going to put in. You must be very careful to select the certifications and the experiences that directly speak to what the manager is looking for. Okay, is looking for, and remove things that are far from that role. Okay, so that is my advice there. This one I say, if you have been working for years but not in while your education, HND, BNG, MNG has been petroleum, that is drilling, and you are still progressing in education, how do you put in those professional experience that are not related to oil and gas while you are looking for an oil and gas job? Will it not deter you from getting a job in the oil sector? This is a very, very important question. Now, one of the things that you need to do in this situation is to look at the entry jobs that the oil gas industry are advertising. Now, some roles are technical competence heavy, and some roles are project management heavy. Okay, and some roles are administrative heavy. So if you have oil and gas background, but your experience has been in other areas, what you need to do is to extrapolate your experience in the things you're doing to the industry at a level where the technical requirement is not very high. For example, if you've not been in industry and then you're looking for a lead role, you're looking for a senior role, or you're looking for something that requires some level of high technical experience, it will be difficult, okay? But if your experience, you've gained leadership experience, project management experience, some accounting experience, and all that, then what you will be looking at is associate level experience or just a so which means that you are able to use leverage on the experience you've gained from the things you are doing to apply for an entry role, but not something that is very high. And you might also need to consult a CV specialist for this. You need to sit down and just go through the things that you've done, and then there's a way that the CV can be written to enable you at least have an interview, but it is still very possible. Okay. Do you advise we include our portfolio or research link in the CV? Yes. Yes. So this is very important. And also if you have different research and maybe a simple website where you put in the things that you're doing, yeah, it should be there. If your LinkedIn page is well developed and you put a lot of things, put in your LinkedIn link there. It is easier for person to go there and see that you are serious with what you are doing. Okay, so that's fine. And again, it must be relevant to the job. So don't send a manager to a page or to a link where what is there does not relate to what he's looking for, because he will just lose interest. Okay. Yeah, so is there any exception of internship experience to doing work experience instead of the volunteer experience? Example, internship training conducted in oil and gas. Now, internship is very, very important that you include what you have done in your CV as under your work experience. When you go to internship, the tendency is that the company will allow you go from department to department. Now, that is where your skill comes in. You've been to different departments. Each of those departments is going to give you a knowledge level skill. Okay, so at the business skill level, at discipline skill level, there's something you're going to learn from that department. That comes to your skill level. Now, when you come into your work experience level, you're asking yourself, when you were in that company, which project did you get involved in? Okay, it might be maybe they were drilling a well, or they were doing a project, and you were asked to do some work, and then you enable them to look at the numbers, this representation, and all that. That is a project. They're going to put it there. Name the project. Put the name of the project there. Put internship engineer, this project, 1, 2, 3. These are the things that I did. Put it there. If you did 2 or 3 projects, put it there. Put it there. It is internship. If, as a manager, I'm looking at your CV, different graduate, and I see the way you've been able to present, articulate what you have done. That differentiates you, because not everybody can present what they've done in that format. It means that from day one, as you come into the office, I can give you a task to just, put things together and present. So it's very, very important. Volunteer is important, but your internship is a very valuable part of your work. Okay. So what if someone is very good in particular software like HYSYS, but he is not certified? How will the person include it under certification? Now, you don't need certification to use HYSYS. Okay, what you need is knowledge. So HYSYS, many softwares are not at the industry level. Okay, unless you are going to teach how to use that software. Okay, but if you know how to use it, you don't certification. All you need to define is your level of experience. Is it at expert level? Is it at knowledge level? Is it also, so that's why I say degree of your skill is important. So you have knowledge. Not many things are not about certification, but knowledge, skill is what you need to emphasize. And if you use it for any project, like as I was saying in the section, you did this using HYSYS to do X, Y, Z. When you go into your experience section, your achievement, that is where you begin to emphasize that on this project, you modeled separator sizing using HYSYS for X, Y, Z. When you are doing that, you are reinforcing the fact that you have this knowledge, you use it here, and this is what you've achieved. So you've done certification to apply many of these software. So you can always use it, okay? This one is I recently resigned from a marketing role to pursue a traineeship in oil servicing company as a quality assurance and quality control Okay. Now I'm applying for a higher role in our industry. Should I include my preferred relationship manager role in my CV? And what are the softwares and courses we can recommend for PAQC training? Okay. Now, the good thing is that you are in the industry. Okay, you are in the industry. So you were in a marketing role. Now you want to move into a service company under quality. Now, if you're applying for a higher role, okay, what that means is that you are stepping into a leadership management position, not just the technical part. Okay, so your experience in leadership becomes very important. Okay, your people management, your time management, your risk management, the things that lead to decision making and outcome becomes very important. And that is what you are bringing in. Okay, your marketing experience is very important in what? In cost management, in quality. Cost is a big issue in quality. So you need to bring out, some of those skills that you have gained, and then elevate the pitch of your achievement into a leadership cadre, because that is what you are trying to do. Your experience as a leadership manager will be relevant in intercompany integration and external relationship with co-venturers or partners or things like that. So there's a lot to do in quality. Quality is very big issue. So the construction yard, the testing yards, there is a lot of relationship issues that quality, people deal with. Okay, inspection, making sure that things that have failed are communicated. There's a lot, and from what you've done, the system manager and marketing, you obviously have a lot of skills you need to bring in, but where you may not have a lot of strength now is the core tools that are used in quality in industry, and so some of them are things that you can easily gain by. So in terms of the softwares, I will take this out. Okay, I'll take this out, and then I would probably, this is a Fidelis. Okay, yeah, Andy, let's take note of this so that I can do a bit of search for this one. Okay. Okay, Fidelis. Okay, no worries, no worries. So is training a part of work experience or part of certification, or is it part of education? Okay, now when you do training and you do a project as part of that training, okay, now that project can qualify as experience. But when you do training and it's just a classroom training and then you just go, then it stays as certification and training. There is really no hands-on experience that has come out of it. Okay, but if you do a training and you are giving a case study or you're giving a mock assessment for you to go assess it and do a report, defend it or something. Yeah, so that is an experience that when you write it in your experience section, you need to make it clear. Okay, just make it clear. A case study on this, you write the things that you were able to do on that, and that is why some of the training that Dr. Kukureka has been organizing on the subsea systems and all that. Some of the things that you're doing on those can be packaged as experience, but you need to make it clear this is a case study on social work, and then you put it there because you spent like maybe 3 weeks or a month doing that as a graduate. And a manager who sees that knows that you've been very deliberate about getting into industry. And these are the kind of people we are looking for. Okay, people that are deliberate, attending training, doing case studies, trying to understand how industry so that on day one, they are not just floating. That is something they have learned that they're bringing into the income. So if you've done case studies, yes, but you've not done any case study, you just went on training on the classroom and then get certificate, that's probably by the time you're applying for the job, you've forgotten everything you did. Really nothing to bring. Okay. So I'm not sure. So if I've dealt with all the questions, I
think so, and I think we've also eaten deep into time because I see Professor Mukhtar has been patiently with us. So I think we will need to start thinking about the next section of the program. But as well, I think part of what we agreed was that we will have a CV clinic for day 2. So for those that haven't asked their question yet, as send in your CV, either to myself or Itoro, and both of us will provide our email. So once we get your CV, either of the experts will look at it, Dr. Gazi, myself, Professor Mukhtar, and then we'll give feedback via email, and tomorrow as well, we'll make our time to address it via interaction. Thank you very much. So, Itora, I think it will be nice for you to start working towards getting Prof and myself on board as we aim to do some brief discussion on the future energy aspect. Then I don't know how long we can go, but we are supposed to round off by 7:30. So if we don't exhaust the questions you want us to respond to, probably tomorrow we can continue that section before we now go ahead with the CV clinic to wrap up. Thank you very much.
Okay, no problem, Doctor. We'll try and make this as brief and concise as possible. So, good evening, everyone. We're going to be heading straight into our panel sessions for this evening, where we are going to be discussing some of the relevant skills that are necessary in this energy transition era, especially for those of us in the oil and gas space. So our speakers for this evening are going to be Dr. Okereke, as well as Professor Mukhtar